In the heart of a remote African village, there lived an old woman named Mama Juma, known far and wide for her magical cooking. Her meals were not just food, they were an experience, a transformation. Villagers spoke in hushed whispers about how people left her home with a new sense of peace, their burdens lighter and hearts fuller. Some even claimed that families on the brink of falling apart found reconciliation after sharing one of Mama Juma's meals. Young people in the village would often speculate about the source of her powers. Some thought it was her rare spices, while others believed she had ancient knowledge passed down through generations. But no one dared ask Mama Juma directly, out of fear of offending her or disrupting the delicate magic of her cooking. However, one young woman, Amina, wasn't satisfied with the rumors. She had to know the truth for herself. Amina was different from the other villagers. She was bold, determined, and unafraid to ask questions no matter how taboo. Watching Mama Juma over the years, Amina had grown curious. How could food have such power over emotions? How could simple ingredients create peace between warring family members? It didn't make sense to her. Despite the warnings of her friends, Amina decided to uncover Mama Juma's secrets. She figured that if she could learn the old cook's ways, she could help heal her own fractured family. Her parents had been arguing more frequently, and the tension in her home had become unbearable. Amina hoped that by understanding Mama Juma's magic, she could bring peace back into her home. And so, her journey began. One afternoon, Amina made her way to Mama Juma's small hut, nestled at the edge of the village. The air was thick with the scent of spices, and smoke billowed from the chimney. Amina's heart pounded in her chest, but she gathered her courage and knocked on the door. Mama Juma opened it with a smile, her face weathered by time but her eyes full of warmth and wisdom. "Come in, child," she said, as if she had been expecting Amina all along. The old woman led her to the kitchen, where pots simmered on the stove and shelves were lined with jars of herbs and spices Amina had never seen before. Amina hesitated, unsure of how to begin, but Mama Juma spoke first. "You're here for more than just a meal, aren't you?" she asked, her voice soft but knowing. Amina nodded, surprised by how easily Mama Juma saw through her. "I want to understand," Amina said, "how you make your food so special." Mama Juma smiled knowingly at Amina's question. "The food is only a part of it," she said, stirring a pot of stew. "What I do here isn't just cooking, it's healing. Every ingredient I use has a purpose, not just for the body but for the soul." Amina watched in awe as Mama Juma explained the importance of intention in her cooking. She didn't just throw ingredients together, she poured love, patience and care into every dish. "These spices," Mama Juma said, holding up a jar of vibrant red powder, "they're more than just flavors. They carry the history and spirit of our ancestors." Amina listened carefully, but part of her was still skeptical. How could food heal deep wounds? Could a stew really mend broken families? Mama Juma seemed to sense her doubt. "You'll see, child," she said, handing Amina a spoon. "But first, you must taste." Amina took a hesitant sip of the stew, expecting it to taste like any other meal. But the moment the warm broth touched her tongue, she felt something shift inside her. It wasn't just delicious, it was comforting, like a hug from someone who truly understood her pain. As Amina ate, memories of her family flooded her mind. She remembered the happy times when her parents laughed together, and how those moments had become rare. Tears welled up in her eyes, not from sadness, but from a deep sense of longing and hope. Mama Juma sat silently, watching, knowing that the food was doing its work. When Amina finished, she felt lighter, as if a weight she hadn't even realized she was carrying had been lifted. "Now you understand," Mama Juma said softly. Amina nodded, though she still didn't fully grasp how the old woman's cooking could have such a profound effect. Over the next few weeks, Amina returned to Mama Juma's hut, eager to learn more. Each visit, The old cook revealed a little more of her secrets. She taught Amina how to choose ingredients, not based on their taste alone, but on their energy and connection to the earth. Each herb, each spice, has its own spirit, Mama Juma explained. Some bring peace, others strength, and some bring clarity. But the key is to understand what the person who will eat the food needs. You must cook with them in your heart. Amina struggled at first. She had always thought cooking was about following recipes, but Mama Juma was teaching her something far deeper. It wasn't about the steps. It was about the feeling, the connection to the person she was cooking for. Slowly, Amina began to grasp the concept, though she knew she still had much to learn. As Amina's lessons continued, she noticed something remarkable. The people who visited Mama Juma weren't just coming for her food anymore. They were coming for healing. Word had spread about the old cook's abilities, and villagers with all kinds of troubles sought her help. One day, a couple on the verge of divorce came to Mama Juma's hut. They sat in silence, their faces tense with anger and frustration. Mama Juma prepared a simple meal of rice and vegetables, but Amina could see that she was putting her heart into every stir, every sprinkle of spice. When the couple ate, something extraordinary happened. The tension between them seemed to dissolve, and by the end of the meal they were talking, really talking, for the first time in months. Amina was amazed. Could it be that Mama Juma's cooking truly had the power to heal broken relationships? With newfound determination, Amina decided to try her hand at cooking with the same care and intention Mama Juma had taught her. She wanted to see if she too could bring healing through food. She prepared a dish for her parents, who had been arguing more than usual lately. As she cooked, she thought about their love for each other, the good times they had shared, and the bond that had once been strong between them. She poured all her love into the meal, just as Mama Juma had shown her. When her parents sat down to eat, Amina watched nervously. At first they ate in silence, but gradually the tension between them seemed to ease. By the end of the meal they were smiling at each other, and later that evening Amina heard them laughing together for the first time in weeks. It was a small victory, but it gave Amina hope. Despite her small success with her parents, Amina couldn't help but wonder if it was just a coincidence. Could food really be powerful enough to heal deep emotional wounds? Or was it simply the act of sharing a meal that brought people together? She shared her doubts with Mama Juma, who listened patiently. "The food is a vessel," Mama Juma said, "but it is the love, the care, and the intention behind it that does the healing. Anyone can cook, but not everyone can cook with their heart." Amina nodded, though the concept still felt abstract to her. She wanted to believe, but the rational part of her mind struggled to fully accept it. Nevertheless, she continued her lessons with Mama Juma, determined to understand the full depth of the old woman's wisdom. As the weeks passed, word of Mama Juma's healing meals spread beyond the village. People from neighboring communities began visiting, seeking help for all kinds of troubles. Some came with physical ailments, others with broken hearts or fractured families. Amina marveled at the transformations she witnessed. People who arrived with heavy burdens left lighter, their faces brighter, their steps more confident. Mama Juma's kitchen had become a place of healing, not just for individuals, but for the entire village. Families that had been torn apart by misunderstandings were mending, and a sense of unity was returning to the community. Amina felt proud to be part of this change, but she knew that there was still so much more to learn. Mama Juma's teachings were about more than just food. They were about understanding the deeper connections between people, the land, and the spirit. One day, a man from a distant village came to Mama Juma, seeking help for his sick wife. He had heard of her healing meals and believed that her food could cure his wife's mysterious illness. Amina watched as Mama Juma prepared the meal with her usual care and intention, but this time the outcome was different. Despite Mama Juma's best efforts, the woman's condition did not improve. Amina felt a wave of doubt wash over her. Could it be that Mama Juma's magic had limits? Could food really heal every ailment? The man left disappointed, though he thanked Mama Juma for her kindness. Amina could see the strain in Mama Juma's eyes as she cleaned the kitchen after the man's departure. That night, Amina asked, "Why didn't it work this time?" Mama Juma sighed deeply. "Not all wounds can be healed by food alone, child," she said. "Sometimes there are things beyond our control, forces too powerful for even the best intentions. What we do here helps the soul, but the body has its own journey." Amina nodded, slowly beginning to understand the limitations of even the most powerful magic. In the days that followed, Amina reflected on Mama Juma's words. She realized that healing wasn't just about fixing problems. It was about providing comfort, showing love, and offering support, even when the outcome wasn't what you hoped for. The healing power of food wasn't about miracles. It was about connection. Amina started to notice how the act of cooking itself was a form of love. It was in the way her mother prepared her father's favorite meals, or the way neighbors shared food during hard times. The power wasn't just in the ingredients or the process, it was in the intention and care behind it. Amina felt her understanding deepen. Mama Juma, sensing Amina's growing understanding, began teaching her more complex recipes. These weren't just about flavor, they were about balancing the needs of the heart and spirit. She taught Amina how certain spices could calm anxieties and how the combination of flavors could restore joy. One day, Mama Juma handed Amina a basket filled with fresh vegetables and herbs. "It's time for you to cook a meal for someone else," she said with a smile. Amina felt a surge of excitement and nervousness. She chose a family in the village that had been struggling with grief after losing a loved one. Amina prepared a meal with all the care and intention she had learned from Mama Juma. She thought about their sorrow, their need for comfort, and poured all her love into the food. When the family ate, Amina watched as their faces softened, the tension in their bodies easing. It wasn't magic, but it was something close. As Amina's skills grew, she sensed that Mama Juma was preparing her for something bigger. One evening, after a long day of cooking together, Mama Juma sat Amina down by the fire. "There's something I've been meaning to tell you," the old woman said, her voice soft but serious. Mama Juma explained that she wasn't the first in her family to possess the knowledge of healing through food. It had been passed down through generations, from mother to daughter, always given to the one who showed the heart and patience to learn. "It's more than just recipes, Amina. It's a way of life, a responsibility to use what we know to help others," Mama Juma said. Amina's heart swelled with pride. She realized that she had become part of something much bigger than herself. The wisdom of the elders, passed down through the ages, was now hers to carry forward. "You've learned well, my child," Mama Juma said, resting her hand on Amina's. "But the journey is not over. You must now share what you've learned." With Mama Juma's blessing, Amina began to cook for more villagers. She prepared meals for the sick, the grieving, and those in need of comfort. Each dish was made with the love, care, and intention that Mama Juma had taught her. Slowly, Amina realized that she was no longer just a curious young woman. She was becoming the village's new healer, using food to bring people together. Mama Juma, now much older, stepped back from her daily cooking. She watched with pride as Amina took on more responsibility, knowing that the village was in good hands. The wisdom of the elders lived on through Amina, and she carried it forward with grace and humility. In time, Amina's own reputation spread. People from far and wide came to taste her food, not just for its flavor, but for the peace and healing it brought. And just like Mama Juma before her, Amina always reminded those who came seeking answers. The food is only part of the magic. The real healing comes from love, care, and understanding. As Amina stood in the kitchen one quiet evening, she smiled to herself, thinking of how much she had learned. The village cook's secret wasn't about special ingredients or mystical powers. It was about the deep wisdom of the heart, a wisdom passed down through generations, reminding everyone never to underestimate the knowledge and love of the elders.